Hi, my name is Kat, Artifair Librarian, and welcome to a new video. Today I will show you my options pile of possibilities for February, which includes a big library haul because I just went to the library to get some books for February, so I'll show you what I got. But I also talk about some other books that I'm reading. It's gonna be a lot of books. I'm not getting to all of these. There's no way. Like February could be like 3 times as long, and I still could only dream of finishing all of these books in 1 month. But you know, a pile of possibilities. I wanted to have a big pile because A, I just am excited for a lot of books. And B, I am participating in the Get a Clue Readathon, which is a competitive readathon hosted by Rainy over at Rainy Blue Reads. It is based on the board game of Cluedo or Clue, depending on where you live. And I've been trying out a couple different types of readathon over the past year because I wanted to figure out if I like readathons, what types of readathons I enjoy, what types I don't like as much, and so what types should I be participating in the past and which ones I can just pass on. And so the thing that this is like the last one that I plan to try, which is where we don't know the prompts in advance. They'll be dropped throughout the month, and so we just get a prompt, read the book, and then try to finish it before the next prompt drops. So yeah, I have some stacks here. The way that I made this list is there are 3 reasons a book could be on this list, or a combination of those 3, which is the case in more than a couple actually. It's just books that I generally already wanted to read in February, books that are quite short, so that if I feel that I'm falling behind, I can use those to catch up. And then also some books that will give me bonus points, because the way that the point system for Get a Clue works is that you get 1 point per page. So if your book is 300 pages, you get 300 points for that book. But then you can also get a bonus points for reading murder mysteries, because Cluedo is a murder mystery game, for reading books by LGBTQ+ authors, books by BIPOC authors, host favorites, or books that the cover has the same color as your team, and the team that I'm on is Team Mrs. Peacock, which the co-hosts of that team are Kirsten from The Reading Nymph and Danny from Daddy Dabbles. I'll put their channels as well as Rainy's channel down in the description below. But Miss Peacock, so blue covers for me. So each of those gets 100 points extra. So if you read a murder mystery with a queer BIPOC author that wasn't host favorites, that also has the cover color of your team, that means you get like 500 points on top of the amount of pages that it is. So, you know, I will mention with each of these books which one of those bonus points to also hit. But so let's get in. I don't have all the books on this list physically, because one, there are a couple like read-alongs or buddy reads or whatever that are nowhere happening, and that I'm interested in maybe potentially participating in. Some of these I'm not entirely sure yet, but I just don't have the book here with me because it wasn't available at the library or whatever. Then I have 2 books that I still have on hold, so I'm still waiting for those. And then I have a couple of ebooks, and then I have a few books that I got from a previous library trip there at my parents' house, and I didn't want to bring them here just for this video because they're heavy, and I can just put the picture on screen. So let's get into it. I'll first start by mentioning The Boneshard War, which is a book that I have already started. I'm a little under 50 pages in, but I don't anticipate finishing this in time. It is the 28th of January as of filming this, and chunky boy, so I don't think I'll be able to finish it, and I don't even think I'm gonna get halfway through because I have another book currently on the go that has priority over finishing, so I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna finish that one, but I don't think that this one will happen, so I'm just gonna roll it over. And it will work for Get a Clue because you can count the pages that you read in February if you read the majority of the book in February. So I'm gonna hope that like the first prompt works for this book, and this will get me, so this is, how many pages is this? It is 611 pages, so minus what I've already in January, plus 100 because Andrea Stewart is Asian, so a BIPOC author. I don't know if she's queer. I would have to check it. I don't know from a lot of people if they're queer. It's not something I really check, but I'll check it when I read the book. But this is the first one. Then I'll just go to the books that I don't have physically, and then I can just hold up whatever I have around me. That's a little bit easier. But so they have The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. This is the February pick for Not Reading for Content, which is a podcast hosted by Danny from the channel Daddy Apples and Leandra from the channel TBR 0. They have one book that they read every single month, and then in advance they sort of like they break up the book in 3 parts, I think, and then every week they have a spoiler discussion of the part from that week. I'm not sure if I'm going to participate in the February book or if I'm going to join them for February, but we'll see. Maybe, potentially. It's an option. Then I have the Mass Effect read along, which the initial plan was to read Queen of Shadows in January, and then read did a tandem read from Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn in February, but I wasn't able to get to Queen of Shadows, so I don't think that the tandem read is going to happen. I'll probably push that to March, and then push the March book to April, which is Kingdom of Ash. Just finished the series in April instead of March, which is fine, but yeah, I'll have to shuffle that a little bit. Then I have Flowers for Algernon by Danielle Keyes. This is the book club pick for the Library of Alexandria. On his Discord, there is a book every month, and for February it's Flowers for Algernon, which is a classic that I've been interested in, so I'm thinking of participating, but someone has borrowed it from the library, so I couldn't get it today. But I'll get it whenever it comes available. Another book that I have on hold that I actually should get somewhere in the next few days is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is so for the Evil Minds research group, we had our January book, but people weren't loving it, and so midway through January we were like, are we gonna change our book? And we're like, sure. And so we changed to Vera Wong, so it's technically for January, but then we were trying to figure out what our February book was going to be. We noticed that a lot of people were like, they had like a lot on their plate, and we couldn't really agree on anything, and we were like, oh, what are we gonna do? So we decided to just take a break from the book club in February, and so I'm just gonna treat the second book as the February book and read it in February, this one gives me a lot of bonus points. It's not too long, but in terms of bonus points, it has a blue cover, so that's 100. It's a murder mystery, so that's 200. Jessica Sutanto is Asian, so that's 300, and it's on one of the host favorites. So 400 bonus points for free, which is always really nice. So this one I definitely would like to get to. Then I have 2 arcs. One of these I need to read, like no question, because it comes out on March 1st, and so I want to have read it before that. So that means that I have to read it in February, and that is Those Who Went Before by Elizabeth Spencer. This is a YA steampunk fantasy with an asexual main character. I'm not sure if Elizabeth Spencer herself is asexual. I would have to figure it out, but the main character is. And so that was actually all I need to know. But yeah, it sounds very like whimsical and nice, while also, having some nice topics and stuff. So that's one that I really want to read. And then the other one is To Avenge a Fallen Star by Kelena Quinn, which is a sci-fi romantasy. I'm not entirely sure whether that means that it's a sci-fantasy world or whether it is a romantasy just set in a sci-fi world. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it has trials. It had a revenge plot. It sounds great. So this one comes out on the 25th of March, so I could easily push it to March. But if I can read it in February, that is always nice, because To Avenge a Fallen Star has a blue cover, and I believe that the author is also BIPOC. So then I also have To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn, which is book 5 in the Bridgerton series, which is a series that I want to continue because it has been a while since I've read book 4. So this is Eloise's story, who's been sending letters back and forth with Sir Philip. And so it's their romance. Then I also have The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani, which is a middle grade fantasy, the first book in the series, where we have, like a school for fairy tale characters, where some are becoming the good guys and some are becoming the villains. And so we follow people who think that they're sort of in the wrong one, because there was one person who was sure that she was going to be a villain, and then she gets put in like the princessy school, and then one person who was like aiming for like the princess one and ended up being in the villain thing. So interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to this one, but it would be nice. It has a blue cover, and I don't know if someone Chinese is BIPOC or not. Just based on the name, it could be, but I don't want to assume. So maybe. Then I have The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan, which is the second book in the Heroes of Olympus series, which I'm rereading. And this one has a blue cover, so it's, like a good one for February to be rereading. Also, I need to continue my reread of this, because I think like I started my plan to reread Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus in 2021, and I'm still not there. So I need to get going with it, because I want to finish my read of the series this year. I'm very determined. Then I have For Eads and a Funeral, which is a YA contemporary romance. It is by Farida Abike Iyemide and by Adiba Jaigirdar, who are both BIPOC authors. I think this is just going to be a lot of fun for in between stuff. I'll also be traveling to London for a few days in February. So you know, maybe like on the train, because I'm going by train. I could read this. It's pretty short and it should be fairly quick. I also have Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson, which is a YA mystery, so bonus point for mystery. I've been wanting to try Johnson for a little while. She's known for her, what's the series called? I'm completely blanking on the title of that. Truly Devious, which I haven't read. I could also read that potentially, but I currently have Death at Morning House checked out. I'll leave the ebook checked out. So that is an option. Who knows? Then I have House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, which is a YA horror, I believe. It's been out for a little while, but I've heard good things about it, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. And I'm kind of in a horror mood, so that could be an option. I also have Het Isisgeheim by Jeroen Windmeijer and Jacob Slavenburg, which is a Dutch thriller, very Dan Brown-esque, that I've been wanting to give a try. And then finally, for books that I don't have here, I have Dante 1 and Raven 2, both by Miriam Borgemans, which are the second and third book in the Slaves series. I really loved the first one. It made it to my top 10 of 2024, and so I want to continue on. And the second book is a murder mystery, and the third book has blue covers. So both I'll get bonus points, and they read very, very quickly. So yeah. Those are the ones I don't have physically. Let's go to the ones that I do have here. I have one more buddy read that is happening, which is quite chunky, but it is a reread, so maybe it'll go faster. And it is For the Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. In a Discord I'm in, Jolene reads this Discord. We agreed to buddy read this series over the course of this year, where we have 2 months per book. So January and February is The Grace of Kings, and I wasn't able to get to it in January, so it's pushed to February. It is a reread, so I hope that that goes quickly. And actually, I read it relatively fast for a book this chunky, because I really like the writing style of this. So I'm happy to reread it. And Ken Liu is a BIPOC author. So yeah. Then I have this bag full of stuff with library stuff. So let's start with, I have a few comics that are kind of poking out. So let's start with those. I have 4 comics. So first I have this one, which is a spin-off of Castle in the Stars, which is a series that I really loved in 2024. It made it to my top 10 as well, and so it is like a spin-off series of that, so I want to try it. I really like the art style, like the use of color especially, and just quickly flipping through, we still have great use of color. And this takes place on Venus in the year 1873. And we have this woman who's going to discover Venus, I suppose. So yeah. Oh no, she's an actress, and the love of her life has been banished to Venus by Napoleon III. And she's gonna look for him. Okay, that is actually interesting. I didn't know that. I just thought this was a spin-off and got it because I wanna get to it. So yeah, very, very excited for this. Then I also have Oliver Page de Tour du Temps 2. Well, there's 2 total. I have both of them. So I can just binge this series as a whole. So it's time travel, I think, or at least in the future. Yeah, like a post-apocalyptic story. This is the second one, this is the first one. Post-apocalyptic story. yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And then the last one has a very blue cover again, and that is this one. The French title, I would have to look. Why doesn't it say? I'll put it on screen. The Dutch title translates as Too Good to Be True, but I'll see if one there is an English version of this, because if there is, I'll give you the English title. If not, I'll give you the French title, which is the original language. But this is about a man who is homeless, and suddenly he finds out that he inherits a house, which he didn't know about. But the house comes with a little boy that he has to take care of, a boy who has Down syndrome. And so we follow this man who is very unprepared to, one, raise a kid in general, two, raise a kid with special needs. So, you know, we see him struggling because he also really doesn't want to just say no to this house. So yeah, we have it, and the boy really wants to be an astronaut. So yeah. I don't know how this is gonna go. This could go either way, but I want to give it a try. So those are the comics. Oh, this is all jumbled up. Okay, next up I have Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor, which is the first book in a duology. I'm really interested in this. I've heard that the writing is very lyrical, but I don't know much about it a lot. So, but I've been told to go in blind. We have a very blue cover, as you can see. I don't know if Laini Taylor, I know much about Laini Taylor. She could be like BIPOC, LGBTQ+. I have no clue. I would have to look that up. But we definitely have a blue cover, so yeah. Then I have The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, which is the first book in the Wayfarers series, which is a cozy sci-fi that I'm really excited for. We have a blue cover. I don't know if Becky Chambers is queer, but I know that they write queer stories a lot of the time, that like they have a lot of LGBTQ+ representation. So we'll see. But I'm excited to give this a try. Then I have The Ides of April by Lindsay Davis. This is the first book in the Falco series, I think. Then I have The Ides of April by Lindsay Davis, which is a murder mystery set in ancient Rome, which I'm very interested in. It's the first book in a series, but we'll see if I like it, to see if I want to continue the series. And then it's a murder mystery, so that is bonus points for that. Then I really want to continue the Discworld series because I've been slacking in the last year, and I really want to make a decent dent this year in that series. So I have the next three. I go in publication order. I have the next three here. So I have Weird Sisters, I have Pyramids, and I have Guards. Weird Sisters and Pyramids I have in Dutch. Guards I have in English because I didn't have the Dutch one right now. But I'll see. I might place a hold on the Dutch one, or I read it in English. I'm still deciding on that. So yeah, but the thing is, I've been reading Discworld in Dutch, and so I don't know if I want to switch now. Yeah, we'll see that when we get there. I mean, I have 2 books to read before I get to Guards anyway, so that's a bridge that we'll cross once we get there. Then I have Heartstopper Volume 3. This is a really like cutesy, quick read in between things that I can like throw in if I need to. I really enjoy the series. I don't think I love it as much as I see a lot of other people do, but I do like it, so I do want to continue it, so I might read a volume of that. We're getting there. Then I also have Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the third book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, so this will finish a series, which is great. And so yeah, we follow Eve Brown, who I believe is autistic, and then she has a romance with this B&B owner. We have a blue cover, we have a BIPOC author, so that is 200 bonus points for this one. Then I have Carnival of the Lost by Kieran Larwood. This is a YA, no, not a YA, a middle grade, set in Victorian London, blue cover, mystery. So yeah, I don't know about Kieran Larwood. I would have to look him up. But yeah, I am really excited to get this. This was like a very last minute addition to series, but like all the pages have like this border around them, which I find very cool. Like, I don't know, it adds some atmosphere, and we have images, like illustrations, which is really nice. So yeah, I can try this. This was the last book that I got from the library. We're getting there. I have 3 more books that I own that are on the maybe pile. So the first 2 are part of the same series, which are Delilah Green Doesn't Care and Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. These are book 1 and 3 in the Brightful series. I've already read book 2, which is After Parker Doesn't Fail, but I still have these 2 to read. I would have to check if Ashley Herring Blake is queer, but all these romances are sapphic, and I believe she also has Make the Season Bright, which is also a sapphic romance, so that sort of makes me suspect that she might be as well. And then Iris Kelly also has a blue cover, so I'm very interested. The reason I kind of put this on here is because there's also, so you have the prompts dropping, and you know, if you finish your book but the next prompt isn't there yet, there's a spinner wheel with prompts to sort of have like additional books if you want to. And I've also been looking at those prompts, and there is one of those that has a book that features a party or a special event, and Delilah Green is like, the premise that she comes home to her hometown because her stepsister is getting married, so we have a wedding in here. So yeah, that is here, and then this one because it has a blue cover, and that will also finish a series if I read these 2, which would also be really good. And then the last one, we've almost made it, is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. This has been on my TBR for so long. I've owned this book for so long, and I've been so excited to get to it, but I just haven't yet. It is a YA fairy tale retelling, so it is set in this world where Cinderella is a historical figure, and her story has been romanticized to the point where you know, everyone knows it, and every girl is expected to aspire to be her. So these girls have to attend this royal ball where they have to find a partner, and I believe if they don't find a partner, they just vanish. I think that's what I've heard. It's been a while since I've heard people talk about this because I have owned it for so long. But so we have a main character who doesn't want to go to this ball and have a man like choose her after one night, and then she's forced to be with this man for the rest of her life. She doesn't want that, and so yeah, we follow that. We have a mostly blue cover. We have a BIPOC author because Kaylin Bayron is black, and we have an LGBTQ plus author as well. So this will also give me some good bonus points and just get off this book of my TBR that has been on it for so long. So yeah, those are the books. I think. Do I have everything? No, I don't. I forgot. I have one more book that I have on hold, which is The Bullet Mist by Richard Osman, third book in the Thursday Murder Club series. That is a possibility too. Okay, those are all the books. I have been talking for way too long. This video is way too long. These are way too many books. I'm not even able to lift all these books. I'm just gonna gather a couple to like make a stack because I can't lift all these books, but I'll do it like that, or like I can show off the blueness of the stack because I kind of like the color scheme of the stack. Hang on, let me arrange it. Man, this is hard to hold. Well, because it's heavy, but just because it's like a little bit wonky. I kind of like the color scheme of the stack. I think it's really nice. So these are some of the books I talked about today, not even all of them. If you've read any of these books that I mentioned in this video, please let me know what you thought of it. And also let me know what you plan on reading in the month of February, and I will see you again in the video. Bye!